Hi, everyone. My name is Arjun Mani, and I'll talk about our work incorporating pointing into visual question answering with Nobleen Yu, Will Hinthorn, and Olga Rusakovsky. Pointing is a vital and ubiquitous gesture in human communication, and it's used to create shared visual understanding between two human beings. For example, saying, look at the car over there, and pointing. Interestingly, pointing actually plays a key role in language acquisition and cognitive development as well, as the first form of communication developed in infants. So naturally, given the importance of pointing to human communication, a key ability of real-world AI systems would be to understand pointing as part of a visually grounded dialogue with humans. So pointing has been used in computer vision in a number of contexts, but mostly either as a form of supervision for tasks like semantic segmentation, or in the pointing game used for evaluating spatial attention. And our work is quite different. We use pointing as input at training and test time for VQA. So we aim to design models that can answer questions like, what color is this shirt, given a point input in the image. So there is some precedent for questions that involve some form of spatial reference. Visual 7W introduced which questions with bounding boxes as candidate answers, and Visual Genome introduced questions associated with particular regions of the image. And our work differs in two key respects. First, we use the more natural point input instead of a bounding box, which challenges the model to infer the extent of the object being pointed to. And second, we've constructed our benchmarks so that the point is necessary for answering the question. For example, in the question here, if the point were not given, the answer could be white or black. So the thrust of our contribution is to expand VQA to questions that involve a point input. We define 3 increasingly complex question types in the space, and in each task, the input is the image, question, and the point input x, y in the image. So now we'll go into each of these types. We start with 2 narrow settings with constrained question types, PointQA local and PointQA look twice, with datasets constructed from visual genome annotations. So in PointQA local, we look at questions about object attributes like color, shape, and action. And the idea is that a local region around the point is completely sufficient to answer questions about these attributes. In the look twice setting, by contrast, the model must reason about the surrounding image context, and just looking at a local region around the point isn't sufficient. In fact, the model must look first at the point, identify the object being pointed to, and then look more broadly again at the image to count properly, hence the name look twice. And so we use these narrow settings to explore the challenges of the task and how a model can incorporate a point input. Some of these challenges include varying attention around the point based on the question, as in the figure on the bottom right, as well as reasoning about both local scales directly around the point, as well as global scales across the whole image. So now we'll focus on the PointQA-General setting. And the idea here is that this is unconstrained, human-written questions where the model must reason about image, question, and point input in full generality. So to introduce our data set, we construct our data set using human-written which questions in Visual 7W, which involve bounding boxes as candidate answers. So for example, if we were to take the question, which pillow is closest to the window, we convert this question to our point input VQA task, asking, is this pillow closest to the window? And we generate 2 questions, one with the answer yes, using the correct bounding box, and one with the answer no, using the incorrect bounding box, with the point taken as the center of the bounding box. And we're able to generate a sizable data set of about 320,000 questions through this method. And here are some examples. As you can see, the question language is quite complex. The vocabulary is quite complex, and as of course, we have the point input in the image. We propose modifications to existing VQA models to incorporate a point input. In particular, we look at vision plus language transformers, which include these cross-attention layers in which the self-attention for one input, the keys and values are computed using the other input. And so essentially the keys and values are exchanged of the other modality. And so what we do to incorporate a point input is we actually add this third quote unquote point input of only region proposals that contain the point. And so that's added to the question tokens and image region proposals that we already have as input. And so we modify the cross-attention layer so that attention for one input is conditioned on both of the other inputs that we have. So that's this 3-input approach. And we implement this for the state-of-the-art MCAN and LXMERT VQA models. And we implement this approach as well, a similar version for the Pythia model as well. So some results, this 3-input approach that considers the point as a separate input and modifies cross-attention layers and vision plus language transformers outperforms ablations that use only 1 or 2 inputs across several state-of-the-art VQA models. Note that a model that only sees the image in question and not the point only achieves a random chance on PointQA-General by construction, But even a model that only sees the point input and the question, but not the surrounding image context of all region proposals, doesn't do as well as our method that incorporates all three inputs and modifies cross-attention. That said, there's still a significant gap between machine accuracy and human accuracy, and so that indicates that there's significant scope for more model development in this space. The model does succeed on difficult questions that require image context. For example, is this the Ford train car from the right? And so you can see qualitative examples here of that. So we have several more interesting results and analysis in our paper. So please find out more about our work here at the links attached, and thank you very much.